You know, we actually have just allowed such disparity in our public education system. And you're right, broadband is chief among them. And that's part of an infrastructure package we certainly can invest in. It's not just the broadband that here in Georgia we give a lot of lip service to, but then we end up just giving incentives to the providers to increase coverage in Atlanta, Columbus, and Macon. That doesn't help us at all. And these kids are there now at home without equal access to education. So I have proposed actually spreading through increasing our LTE service, which is faster and could be done more cheaply. But as a United States Senator, it's about finding somebody who is the Secretary of Education who actually believes in public education, who will partner with the states to invest in these type of infrastructure programs 15. So that we can provide a broad-based education, because that's how people get to the middle class. That's how we have economic prosperity, is we have got to reach out to rural Georgia and understand it has capacity to provide for our economic prosperity in this state too.
Thank you. Did anyone else want to answer that question?
Please, may I?
Maya Dillard Smith.
The digital divide is one of the preeminent civil rights issues, and COVID has certainly exemplified and amplified that. Teresa, I don't think you have this experience, but I'm certainly at home with my girls who are in middle school and high school, and we are working every day on school assignments. I have homeschooled my children before, and I know what it means when you don't have adequate internet at home. The challenge, however, Teresa, is that we can't ask the Department of Education to do what is out of its purview to invest in the infrastructure for broadband. We should be asking that of the private sector companies like Comcast, AT&T, Google, and others who are making a killing. Look at your average bill every month. We have sports fees. We have communication fees. The taxes and fees are raping families from the very things that they need to thrive, particularly when we are going more digital. And we have to ensure greater access, which means we have to have greater public investment in the ownership of our utilities.
Thank you very much. James Knox. And then Teresa Tomlinson, I'll let you respond.
You can go ahead.
Actually, go ahead and respond, and then Mr. Knox.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I was just going to say very quickly that Maya's absolutely right, that these providers do, some of them do participate in these predatory fees and so forth. And of course, I've done a lot of work, as I said, in that regard. And she's right in another regard, and that is that we have not been adequately overseeing monies that we've been giving to providers for this expansion, incentives that we've been giving, that they have not been using to actually do it. And the kids are the ones that are suffering.
15.
And the federal government can actually provide both carrot and stick remedies to those providers who are not using the incentives as they well should.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Knox.
This pandemic has actually manifest the divide between the underserved communities and everyone else. The people, we have to look at this from a position where we incentivize not just private sector, but we have to incentivize our public sectors, senators who are entitled to understand the value that is placed in educating our youth versus imprisoning them. If you look at our systems in terms of education and imprisonment, there's an 80% return on every dollar spent on education versus a net zero effect for every dollar spent on prisons. So these actual investments in rural and underserved communities provide an actual return on their investment that they can understand if they just looked at the numbers.